Welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with more updates coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I have tons of huge news to share with you today. So, just yesterday, I let you guys know that the UK was expected to be supplying British Storm Shadow missiles over to Ukraine for use for strikes inside of Russia. We had not heard over the last few days whether the UK was giving permission for Ukraine to strike inside Russia with these Storm Shadow missiles, but looks like there was a secret permission that was given to Ukraine, as just this morning inside of Russia, the Kursk region coming under attack by at least 12 British Storm Shadow missiles, okay? And this is video footage coming out from one of the locals there in the area. I will show you guys the full video. It's about 2.5 minutes long, and this video is very frightening. The sound of the explosions behind these British Storm Shadow missiles, these things are absolutely powerful. So we're going to talk about this, as it looks like potentially the target in the Kursk region could have been a Russian command post that could be linked to Vladimir Putin. I'm hearing this could be a bunker from Vladimir Putin that was targeted. There could have also been North Korean officers there, also Russian officers at this location in the Kursk region. So very big news. I will go into the details on that in just a moment, but we have so much other information as well. Last night, also inside of Russia, multiple regions coming under attack by Ukrainian drones. I think we had the Voronezh region, the Belgorod region, and also the Novgorod region. So the Novgorod region is much further in to Russia, probably close to about 700 kilometers deep into Russia. We had the 13th GRAU Arsenal, yet another ammo depot coming under attack by Ukrainian drones this time. We will talk about that. I've got a little bit of video footage coming out from there. And also inside the Belgorod region last night, we also had a food production plant being targeted and some facilities nearby. Now, what does a food production plant have to do with this war? Well, apparently the Ukrainians are claiming that this food production plant was producing drones there. So supposedly that's why they targeted it at that facility, excuse me. And also nearby, there is a soap production plant that produces glycerin, and glycerin is a component used for explosives. So we had multiple buildings being targeted inside the Belgorod region as well. And then also I want to talk to you guys about an alert inside of Kyiv right now. Multiple government embassies from different countries around the world are urging citizens to stay near shelters, and they have closed many of the embassies inside of Kyiv, as apparently there have been some warnings that there could be a major attack from Russia, and we are expecting some sort of response. Don't get me wrong, I definitely think Russia is going to respond, and they may try to level Kyiv, okay? There could be a major attack coming onto Kyiv very soon, and I'm sure the Ukrainians are preparing for that right now. So I want to go ahead and get into this, start showing you guys the information. There's just so much to go over today. So let's go ahead and hop right into this. On the Financial Times, we're going to go over this article just briefly so I can show you guys what mainstream news is reporting. Then we're going to hop on over to X, and I will show you guys all that information and videos of these attacks coming out on independent news, okay? So Ukraine fires British Storm Shadow missiles into Russia. Move follows Kyiv's first use of U.S. long-range ATACMS missiles on Russian soil. Here's a picture of the Storm Shadow missile. I've been putting this on the thumbnails for you guys so you guys can see what it looks like. And also it says here, Ukraine has launched British-made Storm Shadow missiles at military targets in Russia for the first time, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. The attack follows Ukraine's first use of U.S. long-range ATACMS missiles on Russian soil on Tuesday, after authorization from U.S. President Joe Biden. A Western official briefed on the strike said that multiple missiles had been fired at least one Russian military target. A Russian pro-war military blog on social media app Telegram posted photos on Wednesday of what it said were fragments from a Storm Shadow missile, including engravings indicating as such. I will show you guys those pictures here in just a little bit. Looks like some of the residents, again, were finding some fragments in the area of this village that was targeted inside the Kursk region of Russia. The blog said that fragments had landed near the village of Marino, a village in the Kursk region. Alexei Smirnov, the local governor, said that Russian air defenses had shot down 2 Ukrainian missiles. In reference to the post, Yuri Ignat, a Ukrainian Air Force official wrote on Facebook that there was a strong storm in the Kursk region. Okay, so definitely the Ukrainians did carry out a major British Storm Shadow missile attack on the Kursk region of Russia. And again, from what we understand, at least 12, I'm hearing maybe even high as 14 of these British Storm Shadow missiles were used all at once, and definitely going to be causing some major damage. Now, I don't have any satellite imagery or any complete confirmation as of yet what exactly was hit. Right now, a lot of this is speculation that we're going to show you guys on X, but some of these sources could be correct as we start to find out this information over the next coming hours, what exactly was targeted inside the Kursk region. So let's hop on over to X now. I've got several things I want to show you over here. This from Nexta. The U.S. has allowed Ukraine to use British Storm Shadow missiles for strikes deep into Russia, reports the Times citing sources. The publication notes that the position of British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on the use of Storm Shadow missiles has recently changed. He had previously opposed it in early November. The Telegraph reported that Macron and Starmer would try one last time to convince Biden to grant permission, as the U.S. had been against it. So here's a little diagram of this Storm Shadow missile showing all of its capabilities. Yeah, so, we haven't really heard an official announcement from Keir Starmer saying that Ukraine has permission to use these, but apparently the U.S. can give that permission according to the Times newspaper. So, it already sounds like to me like Ukraine has this permission. Now, I mentioned this just the other day. I think it was on Monday when we did not have official confirmation coming out from the UK or France stating that Ukraine could use these inside of Russia. I mentioned to you guys that I wouldn't have been surprised if they had secret permission, and it looks like that could be the case, but it looks like it's officially confirmed now on mainstream news that Ukraine does have permission to use these inside of Russia. Now, here's the video footage coming out from War Translated Dmitry. Russian mill bloggers reported 12 missiles, claiming 2 were intercepted, but the videos don't seem to support this claim. Now, you're going to hear, I want to say, over a dozen explosions, very massive explosions, so just get your ears ready. This is a 2.5-minute video showing a Russian local here in the Kursk region, very close to where these strikes are at. You're going to be able to see, I believe, a little bit of smoke as well. It's not too far away, maybe a few miles away from where this man is standing. So there is going to be some subtitles as well. So go ahead, read that while we watch this together. 2.5 minutes long. Take a look.
Бля, я в машине сидел, выбежал аж. Во. Ебать, блядь. Взрывают сейчас. Вон там дым идет. Еще они там забомбили. Еще один прилет летит. Ебать нахрен. Вот это взрывы, а. Серег, хрен его знает. Мы, наверное, сейчас ломанемся отсюда. Ебать, бля. Пиздец, хрен знает, я здесь сейчас, бля. Ебать, бля, пиздец. Ебать, блядь, пиздец, ебать. Дым идет, сука, везде. Прямо на помаре хреначат, бля. Не знаю, бля. Хуй знает, где сейчас пацаны там. Ебать нахрен, сука. Вот это взрывы. Именно Марина наша взрывает, бля, именно. Ебать нахрен, сука. Пиздец, Серега. Бля, нам надо ломиться оттуда, Серега, бля. Я хрен его знает. Прям по наш, здесь на нашу территорию взрывают, там хрен его знает. Вояки вон здесь, бля. Именно что сюда стреляют, бля. Хрен его знает, что за прилеты, бля, это были. Везде вон дым идет. Ебать нахрен, бля. Серега, здесь что-то, бля, нездоровый канитель, бля. Не знаю, где там бомбили, но прям на территории хреначили там. ближе к охране. Так что как-то так, Серега, хрен его знает, бля. Дым, бля. Вроде утихло. Хрен его знает.
All right, this is probably one of the craziest videos I have ever seen, showing you guys here on X in regards to any strikes inside of Russia. Now, I was counting the explosions. To me, it sounded like 15 explosions or 15 missiles coming in. I'm not sure if any of you guys were counting the amount of explosions there, but it sounded like right about 15. Now, again, what's being reported was around 12 were being used. But regardless, this was definitely a massive attack inside the Kursk region. And whatever was targeted was probably, for the most part, destroyed or obliterated. Yeah, definitely a major strike here. And at some point, you guys were able to see some smoke up in the skies. I think he was showing that at one point here. I think it was towards the end or something. There was one point right here where there was some smoke up here. Okay, so something definitely got destroyed over here in the Kursk region. So we're going to move on now. I got some more information for you guys from Anton Gerashenko. Ukraine allegedly struck a facility in Kursk region believed to house an underground command post linked to Putin with Storm Shadow missiles, according to Defense Express. This information has not been officially confirmed and remains speculative. According to the publication, the missile strike was filmed near the historic Baryansky, I think I'm saying that right, Baryetinsky estate, now a sanatorium managed by the Administrative Directorate of the President of the Russian Federation. The targeted site is located in the eastern part of the complex, identified as a communications hub. It is suggested that this may not be an ordinary communications facility, but rather a fortified underground command post. North Korean troops are active in the Kursk region, raising the possibility that North Korean generals may have also been present at the site. The report adds that a facility of this nature would justify the use of expensive Storm Shadow Scout missiles. These missiles, equipped with 450 kilogram warheads, are specifically designed to penetrate fortified structures. Now, what's being reported is it could have been this facility here, or maybe some of these buildings nearby. I saw another post that was talking about another smaller building over here in this area that might have been hit just a little bit north of where this larger facility is at. But we don't know, again, exactly what was hit yet. We'll wait for official sources, but there is lots of sources on X claiming that this could have been a underground bunker at this facility that was linked to President Putin in Russia, and may have had Russian officers and also North Korean officers down in the bunkers of this building, which wouldn't make sense why they use so many Storm Shadow missiles to penetrate this facility underground. Okay, so very crazy news. Here's also from Clash Report. Fragments of Storm Shadow missiles were discovered near the village of Marino on the E-38 Rilsk-Elgov-Kurchatov Road in the Kursk region. Earlier, the Times wrote that Ukrainian armed forces had received permission to use these missiles deep into Russian territory. So here's some pictures of some of the fragments that were found supposedly from the Storm Shadow missiles. And if you look closely here, it says Storm Shadow right there on the top, okay? So they found a bunch of these all over the roads after probably these missiles were destructing after it had hit supposedly this facility, or again, we don't know exactly what military target that Ukraine went after, but it was probably something very significant. I would assume a Russian command post would be highly likely that this was the case, considering the munitions that were used. If this was an underground facility, it would make sense as well that they use these Storm Shadows, okay? So now we're going to move on to some other updates. I want to talk about this attack at this 13th GRAU arsenal. I've got a few videos coming out also to show you from attacks inside of Belgorod in the Voronezh region last night as Ukraine launched a massive drone swarm. So from Igor Sushko, Russia's 13th rocket and artillery arsenal attacked by Ukrainian drones 680 kilometers away in Nizhny Novgorod. The site stores shells for mortar and artillery, missiles for Grad, Smerch, Uragan MLRS, Iskander, North Korean KN-23, as well as air defense missiles for S-300, S-400, and TOR. So here's a like a satellite image of this facility. Definitely a very big ammunition depot. This is further deep into Russia, closer to central Russia. I believe it's even past Moscow, getting closer to central Russia. Okay, so it was coming under attack last night by drones. Here's some video footage coming out from that area as well. Max 24, warehouse with Iskander missiles and KN-23 missiles. 13th Arsenal of GRAU in Novgorod region near Kotovo, attacked by UAVs. According to CPD, this is approximately 680 kilometers from the border with Ukraine. In particular, there are stored Russian shells for artillery, mines for mortars, missiles for LRS Grad, Smerch and Uragan, as well as Iskander missiles, KN-23 missiles, air defense missiles for S-300, S-400, and ammunition for the TOR complex. So definitely lots of missiles being stored at this site, which is why Ukraine would have targeted. A lot of these missiles will eventually go into Ukraine. So it looks like we got a video, a picture coming out from that area, and then also another video to show you guys. So this first video, you're going to see lots of gunfire, and then this last video over here, you're going to be seeing, you're going to be hearing a lot of drones flying over somebody's residence in the area. So take a look at this first one here.
О, летит, летит. Сука, и близко, блядь, летит-то нахуй. Надо бы, наверное, съебаться. Ух, блядь.
All right, so in this video, we can see lots of anti-air gunfire, and also probably small arms being used as well. And just towards the end of this video, we were able to see an explosion right in this area. So something maybe taking a direct hit as there was an explosion here, or potentially maybe this was a drone being shot down in the sky. So we got a picture coming out here too from that same area showing a major explosion from one of these drones. And then also one more video coming up.
Вот дрон летает. Я его вижу, но камера его не видит. Он пролетел.
All right, in this video, we can hear multiple drones flying over somebody's head over here, most likely in the Novgorod region, as this is where a heavy drone attack was taking place. So many of the drones were first starting to target the Voronezh region and the Belgorod region, which, if you're familiar, are much closer to Ukraine, and then they probably had some more that were flying through that batch on over to the Novgorod region, which is where this 13th GRAU arsenal was located at, and that's probably where these drones were headed in that video. So also from next to dozens of drones attacked Russia this night. Air defenses forces shot down 42 UAVs over the territories of the Bryansk, Smolensk, Moscow, Kursk, Orel, and Rostov regions, the Russian Defense Ministry said. In the Belgorod region, drones attacked the EFCO food production plant. The head of the CPD, Kovalenko, claims that that drones for the Russian army were produced there. So there's a video here. It's just a quick 2-second clip that just keeps looping, showing a direct strike on most likely this facility, this EFCO food production facility that, again, apparently the Russians are producing drones in a civilian building, okay, that's supposed to be producing food. They are also building drones at this warehouse, okay? So also from PS01, Belgorod plant in Alexievka. Okay, so I believe this should be that same EFCO plant, but there were multiple buildings being struck. Again, there was also a soap production facility very close to the EFCO food production plant that supposedly could have been targeted, as well as it produces glycerin, which is used for explosives as well. So 18 seconds, take a look at this.
Завод Компаниевка. Ебало, попал квадрокоптер. Только что. Пиздец. Охуеть. Дожились, блядь.
All All right, so it looks like this building took a direct hit on the top floor over here, as we can see smoke coming out of the top of the building as well. So I believe this could be the EFCO food production plant that was targeted. Very crazy, guys. Direct hit on that building. We also have another video here. This one's pretty crazy. From Vicegrad24, Ukraine has launched a large suicide drone swarm strike against Russia. More than 45 suicide drones were sent towards military targets in the Russian Belgorod and Voronezh regions. So this one's only 5 seconds, but you're going to see direct impact on the side of a building over here, which could have been that same building, but it's really hard to tell. But a building taking a direct hit in the Belgorod region. Take a look.
Ебать, осколки полетели.
Okay, so in this video, if you can see, there's already smoke over here on this building prior to it being struck again. Not sure if it's the same building taking multiple hits or maybe another building nearby, but it looks like multiple buildings right here in this area, and definitely at least 2 strikes right on these buildings just around this section here. So again, very insane, guys. Major drone attack was being reported. I think it started around like 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time yesterday, or closer to like 6 p.m. Eastern Time if you're on the East Coast of the United States. And this basically went on all through the evening inside of Russia. Okay, it was definitely a major drone attack. Also, here's some more video footage from Igor Sushko. Russia-Ukrainian strikes on Voronezh tonight. Okay, so here's some video footage coming out from even Voronezh as well. Take a look, 5 seconds long. Okay, here's another tall building that took a direct hit as well on the top. So again, I'm not sure if that's connected to that same building that we saw earlier that had smoke on the top of it. It's very possible, but again, Voronezh and Belgorod coming under attack at the same time. These are both regions that are almost right next to each other, very close to the border of Ukraine. Okay, also we had this report here from Igor Sushko. Russia, Ukraine's GUR attacked the North Military Group Command in Gubkin, Belgorod region. So this would have been like a command post for the Russian military. The group is led by Colonel General Alexander Lapin, Chief of Staff for the Russian Ground Forces. Method unclear, but may have been internal sabotage. So we've got some more video footage here. I don't think this has any sound, but what we can kind of see from some of the images here is some smoke rising above the building over there. I believe that's smoke right there, or it might be here. But some of these images, just like this one you see here, definitely smoke. There was some sort of explosion. I'm not sure if this was from a drone or an internal explosion. Considering that the drone attack that we understand took place at night, this could have been some sabotage on the inside of the building. Maybe there was a bomb planted in there. We don't really know all the details yet, but apparently a Russian command post over here as well being targeted, okay, in the Belgorod region. Looks like in Gubkin, Belgorod, okay? Also, we're going to move on to another update as well from Vicegrad24. Heavy fire from Ukrainian anti-aircraft guns against Russian suicide drones trying to strike Odessa tonight. Take a look at this. This is pretty crazy. Look at all this gunfire from Ukrainian anti-air guns trying to take down all these incoming drones, and I'll show you guys how many drones came into Ukraine last night. So while Ukraine was attacking Russia, Russia was doing the same exact thing, and we have seen lots of video footage coming out from Odessa and pictures recently showing lots of anti-air gunfire in the skies trying to take down these incoming drones. So isn't that pretty crazy? It's kind of cool to see that, but at the same time frightening to think that Ukraine is undergoing major attacks by drones almost every single night, and this is what they have to do to defend the city of Odessa, okay? Odessa is a pretty large city in Ukraine. Also from Brian's breaking news and intel, Russia's bombed an ammunition depot in Sumy, Ukraine, causing an explosion that could be seen for dozens of miles away. Okay, so this was being reported yesterday in the afternoon that Russia supposedly had bombed an ammo depot by Ukraine in the Sumy region, okay? And this is pictures coming out from that area. It definitely does look like an ammunition depot was hit and destroyed. That is not good news for Ukraine, as obviously inside the Kursk region right now, they are trying to hold on at the best they can as the Russians, along with North Korean forces, are pushing, trying to push Ukraine out of the Kursk region right now. This probably would have been lots of weaponry that they use inside of the Kursk region that they stored in Sumy just prior to bringing in. Okay, also from Max24, Ukrainian air defense shot down 56 out of 122, Shahed UAVs. 58 UAVs lost due to electronic warfare. 6 UAVs left Ukrainian airspace in the direction of Belarus and Russia. 2 Kh-59-69 missiles. Okay, so definitely a major drone attack last night. 122 drones being fired into Ukraine. Looks like we also had 2 of these missiles, the Kh-59-69s, that we repeatedly have been seeing Russia using. They'll typically launch a few of these each day, and then along with anywhere from 60 to 120 drones is usually what we see. But definitely anything over 100 is a pretty massive drone attack on Ukraine. Looks like they shot down about half of them, maybe more, including the electronic warfare that they use. So also, Ozen Defender, several embassies in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, including the U.S. Embassy, announced earlier they will be closed today due to a potential significant air attack on November 20th, with embassy staff ordered to shelter in place, while American citizens in the city are told to immediately shelter following an air raid. Okay, so there was some air raid sirens going on in the last 5 or 6 hours, I believe, at the time that I record this. I did hear about that inside of Kyiv, but we have not seen any major attack from Russia take place. But multiple embassies, not only the U.S., but several other NATO nations that have embassies inside of Kyiv, also doing the same thing, closing down their embassies and warning the locals to shelter in place and be prepared to get into underground shelters if need be, as there have been some reports that potentially Russia could be carrying out a massive attack onto Kyiv. So this was the alert here if you want to screenshot that. Okay, also from Mario Nafal, Ukraine, Russia staged PSYOP with fake missile alerts. Ukraine's military intelligence accused Russia of launching a large-scale psychological operation by distributing fake warnings about an imminent missile attack on Kyiv. The false messages aimed to spread panic among residents and disrupt public order, according to Ukrainian officials. Source was Reuters. Okay, so I'm not sure if this was some sort of PSYOP that Russia was carrying out. Maybe that's why we haven't seen a major attack onto Kyiv, but for some reason I have a big feeling that very soon Russia is going to do something. I don't know exactly what that's going to be. Some people would say, is it possible it could be nuclear weapons? Is Russia going to unleash some sort of weapon onto Ukraine that they haven't used before? Who knows what that's going to be, but I have a feeling that Russia will respond to this, as 2 times Ukraine has already violated the nuclear doctrine, the recent nuclear doctrine that Russia has. They have lowered the threshold of it, and they will respond to any attack by missiles coming from Ukraine, especially if these are supplied by like the United States or UK. So far, no response from Russia, but we are expecting something coming soon. It would not surprise me if it comes the next 24 hours. Okay, take a look at this as well from War Translated Dmitry. Monitoring channels and OSINTers suspect that Russia may be planning to test a new missile at Ukraine. The Russians are probably preparing to launch their RS-26 Rubis, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Rubis ballistic missile, testing it in combat conditions. Possible technical data cited by various outlets from open sources range as 6,000 kilometers, deviation from the target 150 meters, weight of the warhead 1.2 tons, about the same as 3 Iskander missiles. The missile has an explosive, non-nuclear warhead. It is claimed that the launch can take place from a test site in Astrakhan region. Okay, so is Russia going to test some sort of new weapon like this? I think that could be a high possibility. Maybe some of these channels are correct on that, but I have a feeling that we are going to see some sort of response coming from Russia yet. We just don't know exactly what we are going to see yet, but I really hope it's not going to be nuclear, as 2 times already, as I said, Ukraine has violated Russia's nuclear doctrine. Technically, they could start responding with nuclear weapons according to that doctrine, okay? Also from Nexta, the USA has announced a new package of military aid to Ukraine worth $275 million. It will include shells for HIMARS MLRS, TOW or TOW anti-tank missiles, drones, chemical defense equipment, and others, the Pentagon said. Germany also announced a new aid package. In the new military aid package, ammunition for Marder infantry fighting vehicles, 47 mine-resistant armored personnel carriers, or MRAPs, TRML 4D radar station, 4 Panzer Haubitzen, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, 2,000 self-propelled howitzers with spare parts and more than 40,000 rounds of ammunition, 3 Weisent 1 demining tanks with spare parts, and 3 demining plows, 8 Karakul, I think it's Karakul or Karakul, tactical airborne vehicles. So this was the report coming out from the United States as they just announced a $275 million aid package for Ukraine. This was being talked about over the last couple days. I think it was just coming out yesterday, actually, that the U.S. was preparing to announce a major aid package for Ukraine. Okay, so lots of support going over to Ukraine here very soon. We'll move on to another update from Igor Sushko. Russia's fourth largest oil refinery in the country, belonging to Lukoil in Nizhny Novgorod, has been shut down following Ukrainian drone strikes that had an annual output of 17 million tons. Okay, this is huge news. Fourth largest oil refinery in their country, okay? Here's a picture of that facility on satellite imagery. And from what we understand, it was struck directly by drones recently. And I saw a article coming out also in just the last 24 hours that was claiming that there was some sort of accident, quote unquote accident, at this facility, and that's the reason why they had to close it down. But most likely it was due to a major drone attack at this facility. Now, there's just been so many attacks all over the place. I actually didn't even hear the information about this until today, but apparently this had taken place over the last 24 to 48 hours, a major attack on this facility, and now it is shut down. Okay, so just imagine the implications that Russia is taking right now, all these issues with their oil and gas industry. Okay, we know they're having some energy issues up in the Moscow region. We reported that recently. Also, their trains are just derailing all over the place. Lots of cargo trains just coming off the tracks. Sometimes could be partisans that are destroying the railroads, so that way these trains are derailing. But there is just definitely just massive chaos all over Russia right now, and they're trying very hard to contain a lot of this information, which is just like what I told you guys, reports coming out stating that this Lukoil oil refinery was shut down due to an accident, okay? So not that it was necessarily hit by drones. Okay, also from War Intel, the Russian armed forces have reportedly moved a significant number of Tu-95 and Tu-160 bombers close to the border. A large-scale Russian retaliation is expected tonight. Okay, so now we don't know exactly if this is going to happen, but again, I would not be surprised if we see a major attack onto Ukraine in the coming hours, even right now. It's definitely building up to the point where Russia will get fed up and they're probably going to launch a massive attack. They have also been saving up lots of missiles over the last few months, so expect a major attack onto Ukraine coming very soon in the next few days, probably even sooner. And I got more reports here as well from The Informant. Two more things to show you guys before we get you out of here. Breaking State Duma Defense Committee Chairman Colonel General Andrei Kartapolov. Russia's preparing an unprecedented strike. Kartapolov dismissed enemy reports as hysterical and accused the United States and its allies of escalating tensions by allowing Ukraine to use long-range weapons on Russian territory. The strike will be unexpected as always, he stated. The United States closed its embassy in Kyiv amid reports of a significant potential airstrike just one day after Ukraine launched a major ATACMS missile attack on a Russian arms depot. Spain, Italy, and Greece also suspended embassy operations, while France kept its embassy open with heightened precautionary measures. Romania's Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced additional security steps for its embassy in Kyiv, stating the Romanian embassy in Kyiv has implemented enhanced measures to protect its personnel with activities limited to urgent operations. Russia's warned it may retaliate against NATO countries supporting long-range missile strikes on its territory. Meanwhile, the Pentagon reports that the United States has seen no indications of a potential Russian nuclear strike in Ukraine, despite concerns that Russia might use unarmed ICBMs as a show of force against the U.S. So this was him speaking. There's no subtitles or anything, so I'm not going to show it to you guys because he's not speaking English anyway. But apparently this is something that the State Duma Defense Committee Chairman Colonel General Andrei Kartapolov had stated, okay, is that Russia is preparing an unprecedented strike onto Ukraine. Now, is this just going to be Ukraine? I mean, technically, the nuclear doctrine states that they could not only target Ukraine, but potentially even the nuclear state that is backing Ukraine, okay? And that could be the U.S. or also the U.K. now, okay? So two countries being involved. And then something that I thought about recently as well, just months back, maybe about 6 months ago, I remember reporting to you guys that the U.S. was going to be fast-tracking some tactical nuclear weapons from the U.S. over to the U.K. I don't know if you guys remember that story, but I did report on that months back, and I had a feeling that that was going to be potentially for something big coming in the future. And look at what we have happening now. The US and the UK now using their missiles inside of Ukraine, striking into Russia. And it makes sense why the US would have given these nuclear weapons over to the UK. Not that they didn't already have them, but obviously to potentially bolster the UK even further, and also to warn Vladimir Putin that the UK has the potential to protect themselves, potentially even Europe as well, with these nuclear weapons. Finally, one last thing to share with you guys from World Source News 24/7. Kyrgyzstan called its citizens to leave Ukraine immediately. Okay, there's actually, I believe, multiple countries nearby Ukraine that are calling on their citizens to get out of Ukraine right now. I want to say Kazakhstan also said the same thing. And this is a very big sign that things are about to explode over here inside of Ukraine. And again, in my opinion, I think that Russia is going to respond very soon. And I think when they do respond, it's definitely not going to be a very nice response. I think something big will be coming, and we may be seeing some weapons coming out of Russia that we have not seen in the past. And just be ready for anything, ladies and gentlemen. I think this war is definitely going to get out of control very quickly. I mean, it already has. It's definitely escalating very quickly. And if you notice, Ukraine is not waiting a single moment to start using these weapons, okay? Once they are getting these missiles ready, they are launching them into Russia immediately without even thinking about it. So just be ready for anything. I highly recommend you go and get things that you need now, just in case something happens. Highly recommend get a little bit of extra food and water on hand, maybe some medical supplies. If you can, get like a self-defense tool, something to defend yourself, just in case things fly off the rails, because we never know what can happen here and who else could potentially get even involved as well. Maybe China, North Korea, some other countries could jump into this mess along with NATO. So again, just want to give you some updates coming out from this region. Definitely major escalation to report today. I hope you got something out of this update. If you did, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.